Welcome back to Shadow of Forbidden Gods. Today we'll be attempting a orc run. We'll be playing on default settings with our god, She Who Slithers. Let's look around. So what orcs do we have? Well, I can tell you which orcs we're not going to be using. These guys, they're completely boxed in. They only control a single fortress, so they're basically already dead. Now here's a more respectable group of orcs. They control 6 locations with 1 fortress. So how do orcs work? Essentially, 1 fortress equals 1 orcish army. At every fortress they control, they will gain an army. It will grow in size based on the development of the province, that being the orcish industry. So how do they build more fortresses? Well, they take over locations and they can build forts in them. But the problem is, forts cost money. And what do orcs not have? Money. Orcs do not have an economy. The only way they can make money is from raiding, and it's very inefficient. So our strategy is twofold. 1, we create orcish warlords to spread and build fortresses, and then 2, we create our human agents to infiltrate the human societies and steal their money and use it to develop our orcish fortresses. So let's begin. First thing we're going to do, immediately we're going to spawn a warlord in this place. What is the name of this orcish tribe? They're called the Rumoris Hill Horde, and we're going to be spawning in Rumoris itself. We'll give our starting warlord a point of might to make him a little stronger. Now he's immediately going to head to this camp here in Terra and attack the orcish upstart here, engaging him in single combat. It's a grueling battle, but our orcish warlord wins. Now that we've defeated the upstart, we can steal his flag. This flag allows us to command the horde. We're now going to begin subjugating the orcish camps. Once they're subjugated, we can build buildings in them. While that's going on, we're going to have our supplicant look around a little. Where's somewhere with the logo? This citadel has 184 gold. That'd be a nice place to take. This castle's got 146 gold. This castle's got 146 gold. This castle's got 172 gold. This village got 100 gold. A lot of gold just roaming around, waiting to be stolen. So we're going to have our supplicant head up and begin minding his own business for around 11 turns until our seal breaks and we gain another point of power. As you can see, we've carried out the subjugation of this camp here in Terra, so now it has these horrible black vines spreaded all over it. You can now see we have other options. We can build a raiding party for our warlord, which gives him a group of soldiers to command. We can also begin organizing the horde, which increases the industry in the location as well as adjacent locations. And as I mentioned, industry affects how strong the orcish army is. Now we're going to move on to the fortress itself and subjugate it. Now that we subjugate the fortress, instead of continuing to subjugate, we're immediately going to organize the horde here in the location. It begins to increase the industry and increase the size of the army. As you can see, we've organized the horde here. Now the industry has increased to 100. It does decay back down to 50, but that's not a big deal to keep it in check. You can also see the industry in the nearby locations has also increased up to 75. Now that we've done that, we'll continue going around and subjugating. You can see that the orcish horde here has now immediately increased its hit points by almost double, up to 114. It's now growing to that size. Meanwhile, we've reached 2 power points, so we're now going to spend those 2 to create the Eye in the Shadows to take over the Demotte Castle, or to infiltrate the Demotte Castle. Now we're going to have our supplicant raid the treasury and steal all 146 gold from the treasury. They're delicious. There is no gold left in Demotte Castle now. It's all in our supplicant's hands. He's now going to flee directly to the orcish lands. Now the supplicant and the warlord will exchange hands. The supplicant will hand over all of his money to the warlord. We're now going to have our supplicant head out and look for more castles to raid and steal from. Now that our warlord has so much money, we can begin building fortresses. We're going to build our first fortress here in this camp of Netis. Our first fortress is online. After a few turns, it will begin recruiting its own army like the other fortress that we control. As our orcs are on a little island sort of location here, one thing we're going to do is we're actually going to try and colonize this land over here. It's unoccupied. Only half of the locations can actually be built in because due to habitability of the location. But since there's no one else here, we can easily colonize the land for ourselves and start building our own fortresses, having to risk expanding into human territory. Now that we've claimed the coast here, we're going to start building a shipyard. This will allow our orcs to travel overseas and found cities on other continents. Now that we've gained another recruitment point, we're actually going to create another orcish warlord. We're going to want quite a few of these, mainly to colonize and build as much as possible, as fast as possible. And it's likely they're going to rack up presence and menace from doing all of this, and they're probably going to get murdered a fair bit. Now that we've constructed the shipyard, you can see that it's an empty shipyard. We're going to need to steal ships from somewhere in order to make our own shipyard viable. Luckily, stealing ships is pretty simple. We just need to find a city with a dock and then go there and steal them. Our orcish commanders arrived in the city. We're going to start stealing the ships. Ship successfully stolen. Now you can see our shipyard is no longer an empty shipyard, it's just a shipyard, which means we can now colonize other lands. There we go, our orcs have landed on this other small island. Since there's no one around to threaten us, we can freely colonize it without much worry. Build fortresses, which then create armies that will spread outward from it. Our horde is going strong enough that they've taken the initiative to declare war on this neighbouring kingdom, this kingdom of Sit. In a direct comparison, our orcish tribe is now the strongest nation on the planet, but this is only taking into account them as an individual. If the humans merged all of their armies together, they would be strong enough to pose a threat to our orcs. We'll need to be a little careful and continue to strengthen them, even though they're already quite strong. Our orcs have razed this city and killed lots and lots of people. They're also engaging in a large-scale battle with the armies of the country. One thing of note is because we're at war, enemy heroes are going to begin targeting our orcish warlords. We're going to have to kind of play run around with them while making sure to lay low to reduce their menace. Being at war puts a big target on their backs. There's only so much laying low can do. We'll just need to be careful. We might have to accept a few of our warlords are going to die. That's how it is. What's a few orcs in the grand scheme of things after all? So many people have died in this battle that ghasts are starting to spawn into the world. These are ghosts that basically just travel around spreading shadow and driving people insane unless heroes decide to proactively deal with them. But I suppose that's humanity's problem, not mine. Human cities are actually starting to run out of gold because of all the pillaging we've been doing. So we're going to have to start searching further and further afield to get more gold, to build more fortresses. These dumb oomies don't need that gold anyway, royal boys. Now we actually have hundreds of gold, more than 1,000 spread across our orcs. So acquiring gold isn't that useful now. We'll of course continue to build fortresses everywhere we can, but now organising the horde becomes a lot more important so that we can strengthen the size of our armies instead of making new ones. Now we're going to start directing the orcs little. There's this small island here that we want to take over as another base for our production. Do you remember the banner we took from the orcish upstart? The orcish upstarts continuously spawn with banners. Once we take them, we can pass them to one of our heroes and they can take it to a country and use it to force our orcs to declare war on that country. We kind of want to do it with somebody who isn't an orc because they're likely to be singled out and attacked, so we're going to use our supplicant to declare war on one of these small island countries. We've gained another orcish warlord. This one's going to be dedicated simply to organising the horde in all of our strongholds to increase the amount of soldiers they have. It's a thankless job, but someone's got to do it. There goes this little kingdom completely destroyed by the orcs. Our orcish army has started to reach a point where it's kind of eclipsing the rest of the human world's military, which is exactly what we were looking for. One of the options we can now apply to our orcs is the opportunist encroachment. This makes it so if a nearby location that is not a city has less than 0 defense or more than 20% devastation and the country is at war, that location will immediately come under orcish control. The human alliances now spawn and our orcs are marching against them. This conflict can kind of go either one of two ways. If the alliance continues to grow and absorb more human countries as we fight, it could grow into basically a global war between our orcs and the rest of the world. And it's a war we wouldn't quite win. I mean, it's win's kind of a strange term because as long as we can survive and continue to produce armies, they can't really stop us. We'll just have to see how it goes. Remember, we don't need to kill all of them. Eventually, around turn 300, She That Slithers will awaken and she can help in the conflict. Another option we can take with our warlords is have them build raiding bands. These raiding bands will essentially act like normal armies under our control. We raised the capital of the alliance. They've migrated their new capital up here. There's so many orcish armies, it's hard to tell exactly how many are even in these locations. There's literally hundreds of people in this location, both in armies from the humans, as well as our orcish armies. I said it's hard to tell who's winning, or who's who, but I assume we're gonna win. For some reason, the dastardly dwarves have declared war on our orcs, and our orcs have redirected their attention down to these dwarves. The last thing we wanted them to do. Our orcish horde has taken a lot of casualties, and now the other human kingdoms have started to declare war on them. This country up here, which is now the strongest one, after the alliance got absolutely eviscerated, has now declared war. We'll have to hope our orcs can deal with the dwarves fast enough and then redirect their attention to the humans. She who slumbers, or she who feasts, has awakened finally. He basically acts as a massive army And as we've softened up the soft underbelly of these human nations, we're gonna go in and just start eating them. Since militarily, there aren't that many nations with above 200 soldiers, which is the default strength of our snake, it should be pretty easy for her to devour everybody. Our orcs will of course help out as well. There's a city eaten, there's a city eaten. We kind of want to go for soft targets with our snake. Like this fort with 200 defense, we want to leave him for later, but this town with only 5 defense, that's someone we want to eat. There's another innocent city eaten. We've currently killed 12% of the population of the world. Let's see if we can kill even more. Conflict has ended with the dwarves. They've been very much reduced, but it's their own fault. We didn't start the fire, they just attacked us, right? Hopefully their harassment doesn't stop us from destroying the world. We did it. It was very close. It was very close, but we did it. Oh, though, it doesn't count as a killing the population win though. Damn, that's too bad. We killed 32% of the population of the world though, which was pretty good, I guess. It's just that we enshadowed a little more at 120%. Too bad. I really want to just destroy the world. We organized the horde 41 times and built 23 fortresses. We only robbed the treasury 22 times though. Let's watch that map. You can see not what's really happening because we're just building up inside our orcs. And then you can see them start to expand. There they go. They jump over to the southern continent. They fought a little war with these blue people and knocked out one of their villages. I think blue reclaimed that though, yep. Then we jumped over to the next island, colonized that. Then we started fighting a major war with the blue nation. You can see like the villagers being pushed back. And it's around this time that She That Slivers spawns. You can kind of see the wave of devastation. Well, maybe you can't see. Yeah, there you go. Where you can see just villagers disappearing from the map as she eats them. It didn't really show it as much as I like, mainly because we ate a few cities at a time inside the borders of the larger nations. So you don't really see them vanish. There was the world at the end. Mainly just an orc world left. The humans being reduced to small patches of land. Either way, this is and was Shadows of Forbidden God. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you want to see a challenge run of some other things. There's lots of different mods for this game as well as the default different gods you can play as. I kind of want to do a dwarf run where we encourage the underground dwarf cities to rise up and destroy the surface world dwelling humans. But as I said, thank you for watching and see you next time.